The 21st century is upon us with a roar. Violent weather, terrorists, earthquakes, floods and fire, starvation and disease. Are these the signs of the times we're supposed to look for? Throughout history, virtually every culture on Earth has developed a tradition of predicting the signs that would prepare people for the end of the world. But trying to determine the fate of mankind has always been an elusive goal. Would this end come about through a massive natural disaster? Weapons of war, social disintegration, rampant disease and famine, all of these? Or is all of that just a fantasy? With the development of spectacular new technologies in the last half of the 20th century, some modern scholars predicted a glorious future for the human family. Has this come true? Actually, the 21st century is a letdown. We were promised flying cars, colonies in space, 15-hour work weeks where robots did our menial labor. Our children were supposed to learn about diseases from textbooks. We were supposed to be able to buy a portable fusion reactor down at the local hardware store to power our home, our car. Visions of the future made a few decades ago anticipated huge leaps in technology and a move toward a social utopia. In some ways that have happened. However, along with all the other marvelous inventions of the past 50 years, have come advances of another kind, new and more sophisticated ways of destroying the planet. Where is all of our new technology taking us, to a bright new world, or to a more rapid descent into the predicted in time? Are we, in fact, right in line with the ancient prophecies? What do modern scientists and scholars have to say? Have recent events been different in any significant way, or does it just add up to another bad year for storms? 2005 was a record year. There were 27 named storms, which is a record for the season, for any season for that matter. 15 of them were hurricanes. Again, a record. 7 of them were superstorms, or Category 3s, and 3 of them were Category 5s. Katrina, Wilma and Rita. 2006 to the present were even worse. The destruction and loss of life in both Sri Lanka and Indonesia from the quake and the ensuing tsunami and the devastating earthquake in Pakistan have left an indelible mark on the history of natural disasters. But are all of these storms and other events somehow tied to the end-time warnings? Some experts believe they are, and that there is a prophetic explanation. Others, looking for a purely scientific explanation, are quick to lay the blame on the effects of global warming. Could this phenomenon be another sign that the future is now? Most computer models show the effects of global warming will not be felt for several decades. Scientists' recent study into it shows that we're feeling the influences of global warming now in storms at sea. But other scientists are not so sure. Many scientists are quite skeptical of the global warming hypothesis. We believe whatever temperature measurements that have been taken over the last few decades of the last century do not support the proposition that this is human-induced change. While the types and severity of natural disasters are becoming more evident worldwide, it is also apparent that our scientists find themselves seeking solutions to problems that appear to have been predicted decades, even centuries ago. In the Midwestern United States in the 1930s, a modern psychic, Edgar Cayce, saw the Earth itself in a massive turmoil of natural disasters. Our scientists now confirming the accuracy of these predictions. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic activity, tsunamis. Right now, we're seeing some of the most destructive geophysical forces in recorded history. The Pakistan earthquake, in terms of loss of human life, could very well be the most devastating ever, not since the island of Krakatoa disappeared in a gigantic volcanic eruption in the 19th century. Has a world faced such devastating volcanic possibilities as we now see Mount Kilimanjaro in Hawaii? It's just been spewing lava for many years, and it shows no signs of stopping. Mount St. Helens is showing signs of renewed activity, but by far the most significant threat is it to be a stratovolcano on the island of La Palma in the Canaries. Its next major eruption is predicted to call it a catastrophic failure of its west flank, dropping over 100 cubic miles of rock into the sea and hurling 150-foot high tsunami toward America's east coast at the speed of a jetliner. Whether that is the case or not, we're watching all the time other volcanoes like in Alaska and New Zealand. And these are other threat areas that could be even greater than the La Palma threat. In the United States, scientists are beginning to pay more attention to the volcanic wonder we call Yellowstone National Park. There's a huge 50-mile-wide caldera, which is a collapsed volcano actually located here in Yellowstone National Park. People tend to forget that all of this scenic beauty sits on top of 2,400 cubic miles of volcanic magma. That's about 5,000 times the amount that was ejected during Mount St. Helens' 1980 eruption. This sleeping giant has recently shown signs of weakening, and this is a terrifying prospect if its employed slides. Is all of this activity just another natural hiccup, or is it a precursor to the next gigantic eruption? What about computers and computer technology? Weren't these remarkable devices supposed to have applications to solve many of these problems? What are modern thinkers, with all of their new tools, telling us about the future? First, we should point out, for all the marvelous things they can do, computers are not the answer to all problems. And everybody knows that a 5-year-old can think better than a computer. However, having said that, if you can reduce everything to precise mathematical data, then it gives researchers a new lens through which to see into the future. And some of them are attempting to do just that. One group of researchers set out to define what they call the predicament of mankind through computer analysis. The result is not comforting. I don't think we want computers to decide what to do with what these scientists call the predicament of mankind. We must decide how to solve our problems and determine that we cannot allow computers to dictate our future.